So the time has come to see what exactly is happening with the second quarter numbers for the United States and gross domestic product to know whether or not we've officially hit a recession or not. Now, yesterday what we saw was the Federal Reserve did raise interest rates again, another 75 basis points. So that's two straight 75 basis point increases for the United States to curb inflation. Now, what we've just seen with the second quarter numbers for gross domestic product is last quarter, there was a negative 1.6% gross domestic product number. With the numbers that we saw come out today, it's another negative 0.9%. So does that mean we're in a recession or does it mean we're not in a recession? And that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. And if you are interested in learning about money news, being part of a community that ultimately helps you understand the finance world a little bit better and have your money work further for you, then this is going to be the community for you. So make sure that you smash that subscribe button, turn on the bell notification. Other than that, let's go ahead and talk about this recession. So you're going to be getting a lot of conflicting news whether or not we are in a recession or not. And if you look at the stock market today, it's actually up quite a bit. So it's a little abnormal to see what we're seeing right now. And so I did a little bit of research for you to determine whether or not we're in a recession. And that's what we're going to look at right now. So a recession, according to Forbes, is defined by two straight negative gross domestic product quarters. And as we stated at the beginning of this video, quarter one of 2022 was negative 1.6%. Now, the numbers that we saw today for gross domestic product of quarter number two is another negative 0.9%. So according to Forbes's definition, we should have triggered a recession at this point. But what we're seeing is that may not be the case. So let's go ahead and look a little bit further. So to determine if we are in fact in a recession or not, there's an organization called the NBER. And what their job is to look at all the data holistically to determine, number one, if in fact we are in a recession, and number two, the depth of the recession, if in fact we are in one, meaning how long could this recession potentially last based on the data that they've gathered. And to really know if we're in a recession or not, this data is looked at over the course of a couple of months to determine exactly what we can expect moving forward based on the data collected. So there's two things that the NBER is looking at to determine if we're in a recession or not. The first thing that they're taking a look at is depth. Essentially, they're breaking down the gross domestic product numbers to figure out exactly what's going on and determine if in fact this gross domestic product loss that we've seen is accurate, number one, and number two, an indication that we are in fact in a recession. And the second thing that they take a look at is what's called diffusion. Now, what diffusion essentially is they take a look at all the major sectors from travel and energy to housing as well, and taking a look at those numbers to see what exactly is happening. Are they growing or are they regressing? And a lot of times with diffusion, what we've noticed is that these sectors tend to move independently. They don't move together. So this can be one of the hardest determining factors to know if in fact we are in a recession or not, because they're going to take a look at all of them side by side to tell a tale, if you will, of what exactly is happening with the economy to determine if these sectors are in fact moving in a negative direction that could signal that we are in fact in a recession. So unfortunately, just because we've seen the gross domestic product go negative the past 2 quarters doesn't mean that we're in a recession. Although it doesn't look good and it may indicate that we are in fact in a recession, until we get the final numbers from the NBER, we can't really determine if we are or if we aren't. There are certain sectors that have seen continued growth through this time. That would be things like the energy industry as well as the real estate market. But on the other hand, travel has taken a little bit of a dip, but also has remained a little bit consistent. We could see that oil as well has really determined a lot of this economic regression as well. So until these numbers are in fact finalized by the NBER, we can't really be sure if we're in a recession or not, although early indications do show that we may in fact be there. So I wanted to share that with you because I think it's important to understand what a recession is, how it's defined, and also know if we are in fact in a recession or not, because that may indicate how you invest moving forward. This may be a time for you to save money because of the uncertainty of the fact that we're in a recession, or it may be an indication to continue to put money into the stock market, because if we're not in a recession, we could see these markets start to recover as we've seen today with the stock market ultimately climbing. Now, that doesn't mean that you should continue to invest if you did invest. It really means that we should just continue to monitor what's going on, determine the best way to invest moving forward and how exactly to have your money stretch further for you. And of course, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this is an informative channel. None of what I tell you is financial advice. This is simply to give you an idea of how money works and give you an idea with what's going on, not only with here, the United States, but also the world economy as well, because this could help you get further ahead in your investing journey and get you where you want to go further. So if that is something that interests you and you want to be part of a community that ultimately is growing together and understanding this money game together, this is definitely the channel for you. So make sure that you smash that subscribe button and turn on the bell notification. Other than that, have a great rest of your day.